All right, we're ready to start if y'all are. Excuse my heavy breathing here. I forgot something next door and I ran over there to get it. Out of shape man here. Round is a shape. Yes. So, if we could, Mr. Byron, if you would lead us in the prayer this evening, and please remember to keep Mr. Tom Reagan in your prayers. Put your mic on, please.
Will everybody please bow their heads and close their eyes? Our Heavenly Father, we coming to you right now, my Father, to say thank you. We thanking you, my Father, that you allowed us to see another day to never be duplicated again, my Father. Then we thank you, my Father, because you kept your loving arm of protection around us as we maneuver through the day, my Father. We ask that you consider this meeting and let us do things decent and in order and for the city of Crowley, my Father. Then, my Father, we want to say a prayer for lawyer Tom Reagan, my Father. We pray for every family that is going through their bereavement hour at this time, my Father. We ask all this in your darling Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge, Alderman Reggie. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Before we get started on each committee's agenda, if you don't mind, I've prepared a resolution today to present to you all this evening, and I will sign it and we will present it to the family of Mr. Reagan on Friday. And it is a resolution honoring the life and legacy of City Attorney Tom Reagan. Whereas it is with profound sadness that the City of Crowley acknowledges the passing of its esteemed City Attorney Tom Reagan, who faithfully and honorably served the city for over 40 years. And whereas during his decades of service, Mr. Reagan exemplified the highest standards of legal acumen, professionalism, and integrity, guiding the City of Crowley through countless legal challenges and milestones. And whereas Mr. Reagan was more than a legal advisor, he was a trusted confidant, a steady hand, and a respected friend to city officials, staff, and members of the community. And whereas his dedication to public service, his thoughtful counsel, and his unwavering commitment to justice have left an indelible mark on the City of Crowley and will continue to be felt for generations to come. And whereas the legacy of Tom Reagan will live on not only through the legal foundations and policies he helped shape, but also through the many relationships he cultivated and the mentorship he offered throughout his remarkable career. And whereas the City of Crowley extends its deepest condolences to Mr. Reagan's family, friends, colleagues, and all who had the honor of knowing and working alongside him. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Crowley that we hereby honor the memory of Tom Reagan with gratitude and respect for his extraordinary service and dedication to our community, that his contributions to the City of Crowley will never be forgotten and will serve as a model of public service and civic commitment, and that this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this council and a copy presented to his family as a token of our appreciation and remembrance. And I plan to offer this to his family at his funeral. Sure. And we'll put that in We'll put that in insurance and personnel. How about that? Offered and second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Okay, let's go to Public Works. Alderman Dorey, please.
I will open Public Works now. Let the record show that a quorum is present. First, we have Public Works Director Albert John.
Good afternoon. I only have a couple of things like every month. As far as vehicles, there are two vehicles that have problems right now. They're still in service. Street Department has a dually, which it's sort of a major job. The mechanics have to pull the cab off. It's leaking some water. He thinks it may be coming from the head or some gaskets. So, like I say, it's still in service. The other one is the guzzler, wastewater's guzzler. There are some bushings that I've been told needs to be changed. I'm waiting on a quote so that we can get together with wastewater, correct, as far as repair? Okay. So that takes care of the vehicles. The next thing is mosquitoes. We're getting close. We're getting very close. Looking back at the last 5 year records from the last 5 years, we have done some spot spraying in the last week of this month. That goes day to day. You know, if they have an increase in population where there's a pop, we get hot, we get rain, you know, then we'll spot spray. But the plan, my plan is, for the last 5 years, we've always started spraying right at the beginning of the second week of June, you know, consistently spraying. So I got with one of the drivers today. We will spot spray if something comes up before the first week in June. Starting the first week in June is when we'll start our regular spraying. We will cover the city once a week in a period of 3 nights. Be one driver, one truck, until it gets to the point where we have to cover the city twice in 1 week. So I just want to make y'all aware of that. Like I say, if we start getting complaints before, it's supposed to be dry the rest of this week, so that would probably fall about the same as it has been in the past, because week after next would be the last week of May, and it would seem to hold true that we would probably spot spraying then. And when we spot spray, it's the areas where we get the calls to take off of Odd Fellas, that area right there along the edges of the city limits, you know, where it's closer to fields and trees, more trees than we have in town. So I just wanted to bring that up. So anybody would call you and say, hey, you know, I've got some mosquitoes here. I'll be glad to go out and inspect it myself, walk around, see what the count is, what they call a landing rate, and if it's justified, we will spray, you know. So, any questions? I'm sorry?
To mess with them trees? I'm just asking, I don't know.
Mess with trees?
Well, I'm sorry, I caught the tail end of it. I thought you said something about spraying trees or what have you.
No, you see there are different species of mosquitoes, and
Okay.
one of them, Aedes, slipped on my
Don't worry about
tongue.
it. I mean, I killed them all. So it don't
No, I would love to kill them all.
Right.
You know, I like killing mosquitoes. I really do like to kill mosquitoes. So, anyway,
All right, we're good. I thought you were talking about spraying, because I got one that you need to.
no, it's tree lines is what they call a tree hole mosquito.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and basically they are pretty territorial. I mean, I can take you to a line of trees right now, and I guarantee that I can stand in the middle of this room to that wall. If I'm in that area to that tree line, they're gonna be all over me. If I'm on the other side, then you're not gonna see a one. They just, I mean, that's just the way they are.
Well, they must be in my yard then. I'm serious.
You got the lucky tree, Stan.
And what that is when a limb breaks down and causes a hole, it holds water and they lay their eggs, and that's that species of mosquito.
That's it.
Any questions?
Thank you. No other questions for Albert? Then, thank you, Albert.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to City Engineer, Mr. Tim Mayer.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I have no action items, and I offer my written report for updates and the opportunity, if you wish to call me at any time to discuss any of that.
All right. Okay, thank you, Tim. So with that, we will move on to Street Commissioner, Mr. Wesley Jacob.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Tired. I'd just like to start off by saying and put it on the record, thank you to the citizens of Crowley. We've been making a few posts on Facebook asking for help with all the rain, the first flood, and then the big rain that had us all scared this past week. We've been asking for help from the community because we just can't take it all. And in the last few weeks, I've noticed more and more people out in yards, raking leaves, cleaning up around catch basins. So I just want to take the time to just say thank you. Every person doing something helps. It really means a lot when we are out doing it, but we see the community out there doing it as well. So I'd like to say thank you. As far as my report, like I said, grass has been in full effect since January. Honestly, it's been such a rough day. I didn't get a chance to get the count on trees, but the tree count, we've cut trees, we're probably in the hundreds this year already. So I don't have the actual number. Culverts clean, we're at about 2,000 feet right now, and that's a lot. Ditches dug, we're between 3,000 and 4,000 linear feet. We're doing some digging, cleaning out culverts. And when I say digging, we're not digging all the way to the bottom, like the mayor and I talked about months and months ago. We're actually just reshaping, just getting a little bit of depth in the ditch to where the water will flow. But we're honing in on 4,000 feet already. We've been doing a lot. Catch basins, we got about 7 of them right now, and we're just starting to get into that drainage side of the season right now. So as a whole, like Albert said, vehicle-wise, trucks we're good. He talked about the dually. We're still waiting on that Dodge to come from police so we can get that fixed. I still needed to pull. So right now, we're good. Equipment is good for the most part. Y'all already know I'm gonna beg for something eventually, but right now we're holding up and we don't have to panic. I do have some upcoming projects. We're waiting on school to really end, so the buses, so we have to shut down 7th Street at Ross. That's where we got to do the culvert under the road. It's collapsed. Mr. Mader gave us well, we hadn't got it yet, but he has an elevation plan. We're going to hire somebody to come in and do that. So school is out next week. Once the buses stop running, we can go ahead and do that project. Bless you. And that takes the water from Hutchinson down Jacob and Ross and brings to the canal. Right now, it's all the way completely blocked. So the water's backing up and running off over the road. So that's the upcoming project now. We got projects all over the road. Problem areas that people have been aware of. We have Parkinson at Cedar. We've been exploring. We've got the TV camera that came. There's 2 catch basins on the corner, and we have a pipe running down Cedar heading east, and nobody knows where it goes. We done got a camera. The camera went. It's something that's blocking, so we're going to have to come up with a plan on that one. South Avenue J area, from Mill Street down, the mayor and I, Mr. Mader also went after the last meeting, kind of came up with a game plan, but we're still waiting on some facts. But there's still a little bit of water in that area that needs to get to that big drainage system, so that's gonna be one of the next ones. Huff Power. Huff Power area had me not sleeping that last rain. I was on the road at 7, and then I was back on the road at midnight. I just had to figure out where the blockage was. So we went down 14th Street from Taylor all the way down to Buot, 15th Street all the way down to Buot. We done blew everything out. On 15th, we found a culvert that it was blocked. We had to chip some concrete out. We got it freed up. On 14th, we got 2 catch basins that was collapsed. The bricks was all in there. So we dug them up. We hadn't fixed them yet. But it didn't flood like it did the first time as bad. Now, the water still came up, and we still got some issues over there, but right now, we've done the best that we can to get the water out. Part of the problem is the drainage board has to clean out that ditch that goes around along the railroad tracks, but Huff Power actually kept me up. We got another spot on Avenue O in Clay. We got that freed up. So other than that, we just plugging along at it. I don't know. I'm dead. We got a lifetime of work, and any help we can get, we'll take it. Any questions?
The lady that was here, I saw her Sunday at Jerusalem. And, no, what Sunday was before that? Did y'all get a chance to fix her problem? When y'all plan on, I see you going all over town. I'm asking, you got an idea when y'all probably be able to try and
All right,
remedy her?
the area on 6th Street, West 6th Street,
Right.
in that cell right there, it is bad. It's just not flooding. I got some other areas that's flooding. Flooding is my priority, and then I'll come back.
Well, the problem, I understand your priority, Wes, but anytime you have a citizen publicly denouncing the city, it don't flood every day. It don't flood every day. So, and I know you have a hectic schedule or what have you, but if you can just donate a little time to, I think it's basically she like get an idea what's going on. You know, I know you can't actually do the work right now, but you know, just get a chance to talk to her and let her know that it's on the list. You just ain't got to it yet. Because when she asked me, I just told her, I said, look, that's in your hands, you know. Yeah.
All right, I went to our house. I knocked on the door. I left my card on the door.
Right.
I hadn't got a call back.
Good enough. Then. You've
All
done
right.
your job. Appreciate it.
I can tell you what I think it'll take to fix the problem, but then it's gonna go back to budgeting, and we don't have the money or the resources to do it. I just don't have enough people or enough equipment to take care of everything at once.
Well, we need to
So-
hire some people then.
Well, then that's on y'all.
Well, this is us. We need to hire people.
But we doing the best we can with what we got, and if I see something flooding, that's my priority. It doesn't matter, and I'm gonna echo these words again. I talked to a citizen today over there on Avenue O. The mayor and I might disagree with 100 things, but one thing we are very clear on, and we speak the same way. We don't care if it's west, north, south, or east. Crowley is Crowley, and we're taking care of the citizens of Crowley the best we can. That's the best way I can put it. I'm trying my best. We're trying our best, and I'll make it all over town. And all we can do is our best.
Well, I mean, I understand your
We don't
best.
have the resources like a Lafayette or a big city.
Well, I mean, that's what this council here for.
right.
You hear this gentleman is asking for help, okay? Before I leave here, I'd like to see him get help, okay? Because let me tell you something here. Our district looks bad. Now, I'm gonna say it like it is, okay? And they feel that they're not getting the attention that they need to, and I expressed it all the same. He have your name on the work order, he'll get to you as soon as possible. But soon as possible is not soon enough for a lot of people. Well, we can raise your pay too. This council has the power to raise your pay too, okay? Well, no, but with Wes, what I'm trying to say is this, okay? All right, well, you're working with what you got.
If I got a neighborhood that's flooding, and a neighborhood that the water
And once again, not to disagree with you, but it don't flood every day. Okay, I understand, we crossing, ties, but anyway, if you can,
All right,
please get
so
with
I'm
her.
gonna put this on the, let's put it on the agenda for next week.
I appreciate that, Wes, have a blessing, buddy.
Somebody figure out how to help me organize how to do whatever. Somebody please help me try to figure it out.
Well, it's obvious, you need some more workers, okay? Well, this council has the power to hire workers.
Wes, I want to thank you and the street department for the work y'all continue to do. You probably said it best a couple of times and not too long ago. We're taking years of neglect and setting things aside, and it's good enough. And we're trying to get it done in a day. So, no, I'm just saying, over the years, we can show you, I'm gonna tell you what I'm talking about, what's good, it's good enough. Because we can bring you to some things that we dug up that was done good enough. But it was done good enough for a couple of years, and then it failed. That's what I'm talking about, was done good enough. We can't account for what those who came before us, and I'm not talking about last year or 10 years, I'm talking about many years. We are fixing the problems as we get to them. We're taking many years. Ditches ain't been dug in many years. We're taking many years of work that has been set aside and just been neglected, and we're trying to make a change in it, and we're doing it. And those guys are working every day, and, you know, volunteering. Wesley volunteers some time, I promise you. Becky keeps sending me pictures of him at the MLK Park over there on the weekend, and he don't call me to go work, but anyway. But no, thank y'all for what y'all are doing. We appreciate it. And he did. Yes, sir.
Okay, I think, any citizen, they have the time to come over here and express their problems. Okay. We have a judiciary responsibility to see what a problem is.
Yes, sir.
Look, I didn't say anything about making it happen tomorrow. I just said keep people informed, that's all I'm saying. Because I get the phone call, I'm pretty sure Bobby get them too.
Okay, thank you.
I went to the house, I left the card,
You done your job.
I went above and beyond, I called the neighbor
There you go.
and said, let her know I didn't forget about her, I'll be there tomorrow, I don't know what else I can do, but I will do. Anybody else?
No, I just want to thank you. Because most people that have a job today do their job when they get there, and then when they go home, their job is over with. And I've talked to you many times at night when you I would say pulling your hair out, but there's none. But you're still racking your brain trying to figure something out. And you didn't need this job when you took it. You had a great construction job. I thank you for what you do for the city of Crowley, and I greatly appreciate you. Oh, absolutely, no.
All right, let's move on. And Wes, you answered the questions that I was going to ask in discussion items, so thank you very much. And I have to tell you, the people that were asking me about the issues in Huff Power, they like you. And, you know, for people to say that, sometimes that really helps a lot.
For one in particular,
Well,
right, Jeff?
Yeah, we can't say who, but
He
there's
was a
one,
rough
if
one.
you can please that person, you know.
You did good.
Well, and you know, that's what we do, you know. And I told him, I said, look, I'm the go-between, you know. I mean, I talk to the mayor, I talk to you, and I'm in the middle, and I can't lift a shovel to do nothing because it's not my job, you know. But they understand all of that, and they said he comes out whenever we want him to, and he's trying his best. It's not fixed, but it's getting there, you know. So that's all we can do, and I thank you for that, you know. With no other items to come before us, no action items, this isn't on the, because Mr. Mayor refuses to give us an action item, you know. Well, it says here, no items from the engineers, so, you know, it's like, really? Really? No, really, though, we have no other items, so I will recess.
Thank you, sir. Utility Committee, Alderman Martin, if you don't mind, sir, if we can amend your agenda to add the appointment of Stephen Primo to the Sewer User Fee Study Committee as the citizen.
Offered. I don't know what the hell it is, but
Yeah,
would Stephen know about all this?
You'll have to get a vote of your members.
Well, I mean, it's offered, so I can call for the, vote. Yeah, thank
So,
you.
so according to ordinance, according to the current ordinance, you wanna help with that?
So so we have an ordinance in place, it's ordinance 1036, which requires an annual review of the sewer user rates. And there's a reason that's done. The reason it has to be done is because it affects debt service, it affects bond ratings, it affects your ability to get certain grants if you have to make sewer improvements at another time. Because you have to show that you have a viable system, that you have revenue sufficient to cover your expenses and your debt service and your bond service. So you have to review annually to make sure that you're keeping up with that and that your rates reflect that. So what our ordinance provides for is a special committee that's appointed that, it's actually a bunch of people, but it consists of the mayor, city clerk, city attorney, in statute, in the ordinance says city auditor, CPA, engineer, I think that's about it, plus a citizen, not a council member, but a citizen appointed for that purpose, to be on that committee. They review the rate annually, and they make a report to utility committee and to the council of what they feel the rate should be, and then from there, we adjust the rates accordingly.
So the citizen that was in that position before is no longer in it, and we're bringing a new citizen on?
Correct.
Tracy
Young.
Young was a previous citizen, but my question with that was, it says citizen,
Right.
not property owner or business owner. And so I wanted to choose someone who lived in the city.
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
Is that tied to my committee, utility?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Man, I ain't never heard of this committee before in my life.
You're
It's
on
in-
it.
You're on it,
Well,
according to
I'm
ordinance.
just, you know, and I don't know what Tracy Young or whoever else, look, I've been doing this, since I've been on this council. And the only person that we relied on that is our engineer, okay? So I don't know where you come up with this, well, I'm always the last one to be told anything anyway, so I accept that.
Okay. You're gonna have to get a vote of your committee, a unanimous vote to amend the agenda. Okay, I'll run your committee. So, we need, Mr. Martin, yes or no, to amend the? Well, you have to get votes from your committee members, Mr. Martin. You offered it, but you are the chairperson. You have to run this committee. So you need to say, yes, you have to say Sandy Marks, yes or no. Chuck, everyone has to vote for it to amend it. This is not new. Put your microphone on, please, sir.
This committee, because this first I heard of this committee.
Mr. Martin, this is an ordinance. It is in the city ordinance. I didn't write it. This was far many years ago that this was put in the city ordinance. This is a city ordinance.
Okay.
We're not creating an ordinance here. We're trying to follow this ordinance now.
Okay. Well, with that being said, as chair of this committee, I think I should have had a chance to represent someone to be on the committee, but apparently.
But that's not what the ordinance says. Appointed by the mayor and approved by the council.
Well, like
Just
I said-
like street commissioner and fire chief and public works
All right, we good.
and recreation.
All right.
So,
can we,
Mr. Martin, as far as the ordinance is concerned that establishes all this, I think it was, I don't know when it was established in 1987. It was
87.
amended. It was amended in 95, and it was amended in 2020. Now, I don't know, the subject of each of those amendments, but it's been
Jim,
in
you know
place for a
anything
while.
about this, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, in 2020, the formation of the committee was changed by that ordinance to amend the ordinance. And at that time is when the citizen appointee came up, and also the chairman of the utility committee and the chairman of the finance committee are in the ordinance as members of that committee. And that committee has met, I'd say over the past 6 years, at least 3 times, to study and review the user fee, the revenues, the expenses, and come up. Twice we came up with increases, and once we came up with no reason to increase. That was the last time the committee met. There was no movement to increase the fee. So that's a brief history of it.
Why wasn't the chair invited to the meeting?
I didn't want to say this, but you were.
I was going to say.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
how was I invited?
can you,
I have emails that I'll send you.
Mr. Mater, if you don't mind, please send me those emails
Please.
with that communication that he was invited, so that we can share it with the rest of the council.
Okay.
Will do.
Because we are not trying to leave you out, Mr. Martin.
Okay, all right.
You have been included for many years on this.
Okay, well, we're good then.
Well,
It's
and
an ordinance.
If I may, I
Send
see
me one of the emails as
Sammy
well.
has his hand up as the co-chair or vice chairman.
Well,
He attended
On the
your behalf.
last, on our last, when Tim was still the mayor, I think they tried to get a hold of you once or twice. They would call me up and say, hey, we tried to get a hold of Mr. Martin. So I went to, I think, 3 of those. And it was around COVID time.
Around COVID time?
Yes, sir. So that was what, we got in at, 19? So it was 19, 20, 21. Well, we might not have had one in 20 because of the COVID, but I know I did 3 of them. And then it was a group of people that met at City Hall, and
Well, you know,
I
with
don't
that
know who
being
was supposed to
said,
get a hold to you, but they'd call me up.
well, I'll be honest with you, that phone call I never had. But anyway, if y'all, I'm good with it. Okay. All right, well, appreciate you being there, man. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you being there. Okay, so we have, all in favor of amending the ordinance, amend the agenda? Aye. Okay,
You need a
well,
roll call, please. It's got to
Okay.
be a roll call.
just the members, correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, myself, yes. Sandy Marks? Chuck? Katie is not here. Jeff? Okay, we do have, enough for the passage of it. So, we're gonna amend the agenda to add this, to allow, Stephen Primo to become a member of this organization, correct?
To be appointed as the citizen on that
Right.
committee, yes.
Right, so, okay. Well, motion passed. All in favor?
Well,
We just said?
that was to amend the agenda. Now it's an agenda item, an action
Right.
item.
Okay,
So if you want to offer that as an action item,
that's what I was about to do, offer it as an action item.
now you need a second.
Okay, it's been offered and second, all in favor? Opposed have the same right? Motion carried.
All right.
Okay. So, we can carry on with our regular agenda?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, we do have a quorum present, as I mentioned. At this time, Tim Crater, wastewater superintendent, to give his monthly report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, brother.
During the month of April, we had 187 Louisiana One Call locate requests. We filed 26 work orders, that's including after-hour calls. We pulled pumps at 8th Street and Oddfellows pump stations. We cleared those, inspected them, ran them, put them back in service. We recently pulled 2 smaller pumps from the main pump station, installed 2 bigger pumps. We found that the efficiency of the smaller pumps were not efficient enough to keep up. They did match on the pump curves and the specs, but we felt we weren't getting enough water out of that station to benefit us. So those 2 pumps were increased. The 2 smaller pumps we do have as spares in case one goes down. And we can use them in an emergency. And they'll pump, just not as a high volume as the others. I'm sorry? The main pump station on West 9th. If you pass down East Hutchinson and Eastern Avenues, you've noticed the pipe there. Not all of the pipe has arrived for the Hutchinson project. We're in touch with had to fabricate it at the manufacturer. So once we're missing, I think, a couple of 100 feet. And then I don't think we wanted to get started going and then have to stop, move the equipment off-site. They're gonna bring in the equipment all at one time, go from beginning to end. I did pass there, we're still waiting. LOUS has bored their due line south of East Hutchinson. The cable is still in the median. They have not pulled it around yet, so that is a little hold up. Once that's moved and off-site, that project's gonna go from beginning to end. It'll go down from Avenue K, I believe, to Eastern Avenue, then south to Fifth. So all of that main line there will be changed out to schedule of 40, I believe. SDR 35. And all of the connections that are tied in will be reconnected at that time as they're going. There's clay pipe that's been there probably since they put the system down many years ago, and it's not in the best shape. Other than that, that's all I have. I want to thank my staff for what they do. Knee-deep, grass high, however you want to look at it, but I appreciate them much. Any questions?
Tim, who'd you say was pulling the cable that was slowing y'all down a little bit?
LUS Fiber.
Okay, so fiber.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Microphone, Mr. Martin.
Any other questions? Thank you, Tim. All right, we're gonna continue with the city engineer, Tim Maiden.
Thanks, Deb. I have no action items and offer the same written report and availability for questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. With that being said, we're gonna recess.
There's a discussion item. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
According to what I've been hearing, John F. Kennedy Jr., whatever, look like it's gonna be a federal thing. They're gonna make it federal.
Yeah.
So federal supersede state and local, so I don't think we'll have that problem much longer.
Well, I've had a couple of phone calls asking where we're at on it.
Right.
Alderwoman Marks and myself did go to the state capitol, and I'll let her briefly explain what we talked about
Well, Mayor,
and who we spoke with
I
over
was
there.
there as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
I was there as well.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Over the past several weeks, several of the aldermen, alderwomen have gone to Baton Rouge. We had presented with a request of Senator Fessy, who is author, along with McMath and Cloud, on the Senate bill which bans statewide the addition of sodium fluoride into the water. And so we reported, I spoke before the Senate committee regarding, I prepared a compendium for them to review, and the bill passed out of the Senate committee favorably and went to the floor on subsequent visits, and it passed out of the floor. Because of the weather, it was deferred to this week as it is being prepared to go through the House committee, then into the floor, and I'm waiting to hear the status of it at this time. The presentation was based on the health benefits and the impact on municipalities who the trend is to not add that. And if we had to do it as a municipality, it's cost prohibitive to do a referendum. So that was one of the things that brought us to Baton Rouge if it's done statewide and passes. It was initially targeted to mandate to come out August the 1st, but they amended that. It would be January the 1st of 2026. And if it is statewide, then that exonerates us from having to spend that money. And then we don't have to deal with that. I would like to report that last week, we did have to buy a pallet. We have to continue this. Hopefully, if they'd have passed it, we'd have been out of that. The initial cost of a pallet was around $4,500, and with the new tariffs, it raised to $6,000. So we are being negatively impacted, and we await for this. I want to thank the alderman and alderwoman who showed up for this and participated this, and it's greatly appreciated. And that's the report. If you have any questions, I do have some, as I get some resources.
If anybody's, wants to follow it along, it's Senate Bill 2, SB 2. And it's essentially what'll happen is, or the way it is right now it'll be chopped up and changed any kind of way as it goes through the process, but it's been moving along pretty good. But essentially what it's doing is it would take the requirement of adding fluoride to the water system in the event of a city like Crowley, who currently adds. It would take it away, and we would have to have an election if we chose to keep it. We wouldn't have to do anything if we don't want to keep it, so.
According to my
simply
contacts
putting
in Washington, it's about to be a federal thing, so.
It is moving through the federal
So we just need to leave it
government
alone
also.
and let them do their
Yes, sir.
thing. But I'll call Troy and see where it's at, and if there's anything to be said, I'll report at our next scheduled meeting,
Thank you,
our
sir.
full council meeting.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, any other thing to come before this committee? We recess.
All right, if y'all don't mind, we'll do public safety. The fire chief has another fire chief's meeting at 6.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call to order the Public Safety Committee meeting. We have a quorum present, and we'll begin with reports with Chief of Police Troy Hebert.
In the month of April, our officers answered 792 calls. They issued 70 traffic violations while on patrol. Traffic enforcement detail, they issued 1,005 citations. We had 78 total arrests for the month. Numbers are still pretty low. We did see an increase in the burglaries because we moved the TED program. We put a few extra units on the interstate and moved them from inside the city because we had dropped our numbers in the city, which I was afraid of that it would cause the other numbers to rise. As you can see here, you know, if they're not in the city, on city streets working TED 2, it will cause the other numbers to rise, and it does indicate it, just like it has been for the past several years. If we don't work it enough in the city, it will cause the other crime to increase, you know. So we definitely monitoring all those numbers real close to make sure we stay on top of it, to keep our burglaries low, our thefts down, you know, just different things across the board. Our shootings definitely increased also, and so it's definitely a need for our department, you know, to keep it moving through the city as well as on the interstate. You know, the interstate is a big problem. They speed down there constantly, and that's why we moved some of it down, because we've been getting a lot more reports of the speeders coming in at higher rates of speed. Especially on the weekends, they come in pretty fast. If you ever, like on a Sunday on the interstate, you're doing 85, you probably need to get in the right lane. That's how fast, you know, sometimes these cars are traveling, and the whole traffic is that fast. And when you get a wreck at that speed, it's fatal. But, you know, we have to do it in the city too, to be able to maintain our numbers being low, until we get more crime cameras put out. I think that's our message along the way. If we can get more crime cameras out, we wouldn't have to work the traffic detail that much on our local city streets, and, you know, and can put a little more focused time on the interstate, but, I think that's truly the answer, is the traffic cameras, because we are seeing where we do have, not traffic cameras, I'm sorry, crime cameras. Where we do see we have the crime cameras, we are, catching everything that comes across, whether it's burglary, shootings, or what have you. It has always pretty much linked to somewhere where we caught it on film now, so it's definitely a need. Still waiting on, Clico. I had them come out and look at a few poles that we ain't questioned, and, they're going back, they're gonna meet with AT&T because, they pretty much know that that's AT&T's pole, is to convince them that they own the poles to be able to give us permission to put them on there. So it's still a fight. Hopefully, once we get it all worked out, everything should be moving ahead going forward. But we are having good success with the cameras that are out in place now. It is solving our rates at a good rate. It is solving a lot of our crimes. But thing does seem to be moving good right now. You know, we scheduled out some more training. We got some more guys going for more training. That extra increased training budget that the mayor had put in there for us, it's really helping out. It's really getting our guys educated. We're seeing it, you know, just in everyday performance with the guys. They're proactive. They doing what they're supposed to be doing. Everything's going pretty smooth right now. Thank God none of them are talking about leaving that I know of. But as we move forward, and that's the key, is, you know, once you keep your employees, you keep everything that you invested in them here, and that, you know, that's thanks to y'all giving those guys a raise. You know, it really helped them out to support their families, but most importantly, you know, the money that you spend on them to give them to that level, they staying, and we starting to see the effects now, especially with the drop in lawsuits and different things like that create a big financial burden on our city. But thank y'all.
Any questions for Chief?
Just have one, Chief.
Go ahead, Step.
Yeah, someone made a statement, it was at the funeral, and I couldn't believe it. I said, well, maybe I misunderstood him, but they were talking about the speed on I-10, and one guy asked one of the officers, say, if I'm following along with traffic and we all speeding, how do you judge who to pull over? I was waiting for an answer. I never got one, so I'm asking.
Sometimes they'll pull them all over.
Well, that's what the guy said. He said they got a thing they call a train.
Yeah, sometimes they'll get in there and motion for each one to pull over on the side of the road, and they'll sit there and write each one of them a citation. It has happened. People aren't exactly thrilled when it does happen to them, but, you know, sometimes they're able, you know, and a lot of that is the traffic that day. You know, look, it is very dangerous for the guys to be out there on the interstate, and them cars are passing, you know, at 80 miles an hour, you know, 90 miles an hour, and you're 2 feet away from that car that's passing, you know.
I got you.
So they try to be safe doing it too. Some may not, you know, pull them all over, may choose to pick the one that he actually clocked and pull him over because he clocked him. And, you know, some may clock each one, hit each one, and then pull them all over. It just, you know, some officers will push it a little more than others, you know. I always recommend that they be safe and, you know, don't put yourself in a bind. You know, take the safest way. It's not how many we write, you know, we out there, we slowing that traffic down.
I got you.
You know, they don't have to, but some of them feel comfortable doing it too.
But Chief, the point I think you need to make is that, how do they know which one they pinpointed?
Oh, because, so what we use is, we use LiDARs out there on the
answer to that.
interstate. It's a little different than a radar.
Yeah.
A radar is like a broad where when you point the gun at me.
Whatever's moving in that area.
Yeah, and a 40-degree angle or something to pick up everything in that angle, where your laser, you gotta actually put it on the grill.
They look through a sight, an actual sight, and they look at.
It's
They
similar
point
to a laser on a gun.
Okay.
The little red dot.
All right. I
when
thought
you-
it was interesting because
You
one
can
guy.
see the laser beam through the scope of the gun. You can't see it on you, but you see it in the gun when you lift it up, and you got to put that dot right on that grill.
Okay.
You know.
Well, one officer said, don't make no difference, they all speeding. I say, well, that's true too. All right, well, I'll
Yeah,
just
but
ask.
you don't know how, you don't know if one of them cutting the other lane, slowing down. You really need to put it on each car.
They had a lot of talk about it, I could tell you. I was trying to get, but anyway,
The
thank you for
proper
that.
way is on each car.
Alderman Ashby, you had a question?
Yeah, Troy, thank you. Appreciate everything that you're doing. I mean, y'all are doing a fantastic job. I did have a few people ask me this month, and I told them that I'd ask you. I wish I'd have called you before because I didn't do my due diligence to go look. But they did ask if the area where First Turn was in that curve, if we built that speed trap on purpose. And I said, look, I don't want to answer the question because I don't, and they said the speed drops multiple times right there in a short period span. And I said, I will ask the chief and I'll give you an answer. So
Where the officer actually clocks them coming from Walmart, if you will, off of Highway 90, when they pass up the hospital, they come down. They will cross 3 35-mile-an-hour speed signs before the officer clocks them. So they had 3 chances to bring it down to 35. I mean, do we need to put 6, 7 35-mile-an-hour signs before we clock you? I mean, come on. You know, you crossed 3 that said 35, and then he clocks you further down. At what point did you plan on slowing down? When you got to the red light? You know, come on.
Only if it's
You know,
red.
I mean, I understand, but we have to understand there are houses that live in that area, and they do have small children that ride up and down the, if you pass, you'll see them sometimes on their carport. They're riding up and down inches from that road. Do we want these cars doing, 35 is still kind of fast in my opinion, but at the same time, this is residential right there as well as commercial. We can't have them going that fast right there. Yeah, on both sides, Now, I think the other lane, it does go up to 45 on the other side a little sooner, but, it is a dangerous area, and.
thank you for that answer because now I know when
And
they
if you
ask.
if you don't know our police ain't in that curve working it, you wasn't paying attention. Cause they love it because they stay busy doing it. Because everybody continues to speed right there, but at some point they're gonna get the message. Maybe I should slow down right
That's your
there.
timer.
And our main concern is our citizens. Look, when I walked this city campaigning, all I wanted to do was talk about the gun violence and the way I was approaching it, and all they wanted to do was talk about speeders in their neighborhood. And there are certain streets that aren't traveled a lot. So if we go work, you may have somebody that lives, let's say, on 12th Street. It's not that busy. So if I send a unit out there, he may come across a speeder every hour. But if you're right there on 90, you can catch 20 speeders in an hour. So it's just like any business that you run. You're gonna waste our taxpayers' dollar and put them working on that one street when you could get 10 right there. Chances are he's gonna turn off and speed down 12th Street anyway. So you got him as long as, and not only did you get him, but you might have got the other one that was going to do it down 11th and 10th and 9th. So we just cut them off. Chances are if you speed, you're going to speed no matter where you're at because you're not paying attention. Our goal is definitely not to hurt anybody or to make them pay or whatever anybody else thinks. Our goal is exactly what we're doing. We dropped our accidents 150 per year. Man, can you imagine 150 less accidents in our city? That wasn't done just because they, decide they wanted to start driving right, And look, last thing we want to do is hurt them and make them pay anything or have any kind of consequences, but there are consequences to your actions, if you kill a kid or what, and I can't just ignore it, And I do get pressure from a lot of people, wanting us not to do that part of the job, but if you would have been in that cart with me walking this city, you'd understand that, the majority of our people want it enforced. And they just don't want it enforced on them, It's kind of a, and look, by us enforcing it, I showed y'all the numbers drop. Who causes their burglaries to drop 60% in a year? 60%. I ain't never heard of that ever happening unless you got crime cameras put out all over your city. You don't get those kind of numbers, but we got them here in Crowley, And it's directly linked to this TED program. The numbers don't lie. It is what it is. We just ask that everybody pay attention. You know, we don't want to hurt anybody. The last thing we want to do is hurt somebody. But, you know, unfortunately, we those guys that are picked that have to enforce this stuff. And we do what y'all, the laws y'all create, we do it.
Yes, thank you, Chief. Anything else for Chief Hebert? All right, we'll move on to Fire Chief Louis Merrill finally.
So the packet that I gave y'all, they're backwards. The first one is the second one, the second one is the first one. So if we go to March, we ran 61 calls, we were average response time of 3:04. If you look on the blue page, the first one, 14 minutes and 21 seconds. That was for a mutual aid call for a structure fire. I don't remember where. Might have been Rain or Eunice, one of them. And then the service call, the one in red, remember we don't run lights and sirens to a service call, so that one took us 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Of those calls, 6 were hazardous condition, 33 EMS calls, 10 false alarms, 4 structure fires, 4 good intent calls, and 4 service calls. We moved to April. Our response time is 3 minutes for 61 calls. And again, if you look at the blue page, false alarm calls, we had 2 of them. That was at Crowley High that we went out to, so it took us a little longer to get there. 5 minutes and 52 seconds and 7 minutes and 24 seconds. The service call was no lights and sirens, and then we got another service call in the back. So the average response time for that was 3 minutes. Of those calls, 4 minutes was for 4 was for hazard condition, 31 EMS, 9 false alarms, 6 fires, 9 good intent calls, and 2 service calls. So far, through the end of April, we're in 254 calls. If you remember when I gave you all a recap in January's meeting, the magic number is 730. According to PIL, if we go over 730 calls, we need a second PSAP. Or our ratings affected.
And that's for what time period? What period of time for 730?
1 year,
Oh, 1 year.
730 calls. PSAP, it's another 911, it's in another place where emergency calls come in. Again, in January, I told y'all that our projection on EMS calls was skyrocketing. If our calls stay like it is right now, we're looking at 760 to 770 calls on the projection we are right now. That means we need a second PSAP. Who's gonna pay for that? A second primary call center. Right now,
Like a
our
dispatch.
call center is 911, right here at the court circle. But if Crowley Fire Department gets more than 730 calls, that means we're required to have a second PSAP, or we get penalized. Okay? Communications is 10% of our rating. All right? A second PSAP, to staff it, you're looking at over $1 million. Okay? We met yesterday. We're meeting tonight. We met yesterday with Acadian, and we all expressed our concerns. When I say we, the 5 chiefs of this parish. Okay? We're running too many EMS calls. The mayor, back in February, me and him was together, and he says, why are we going to that? Because they toned us out to go to that.
What was
They
that?
toned us out to go to that. And I don't remember what it was, but it was stomach problems. You know, why are we going to that? What are we gonna do?
So Chief,
You know?
some of these should be calls to like the ambulance service?
They
That's
are
all
all
ambulance service.
They are all calls to the ambulance service. Any medical assist calls that you see here are ambulance service calls that the ambulance services are responding to, but the fire department is also responding to because they call for us to go and assist them. And that's why he's asked to do public safety now, so that he can get to the meeting here in 3 minutes.
So I'm
in
just
Lions
putting it on your
Point.
radar. We're gonna do everything we can, but, the other day, we had a fire call. We were literally fighting a fire, and they called us for an EMS. I called the DC and said, cancel it. We're not going to that. Our primary responsibility is fire.
Fire, exactly.
Okay? And, it's just, this is my opinion. This is my feeling. The 2 ambulance services we have, they're trying to make a profit, okay? They for profit. Well, if I don't have to staff as many units in the city of Crowley, I'll use the fire department. And guess what? Yes, we're here to protect and serve our citizens, but we can only do so much. You know, in one day, we ran 18 EMS calls. One day.
And that's to assist the ambulance service.
Yes, sir. Now, think about this. We ran 18 calls. We worked 24 hours. We get a structure fire. When these guys are going to sleep? They got to be rested to be able to perform their job in rescuing, going to a vehicle extrication, going to whatever they call us to do, a hazmat call. They got to be kind of rested. If they've been up all night long and all day, and we get a structure fire at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, no telling how long they've been up, because they was averaging a EMS call once every hour, 15, 20 minutes. Not one, but 2 ambulance services. You know, so
Chief, is there a requirement that you have to respond, or are they just doing that as a public service to the end?
ever since I've been in the fire department, since 1999, we've always done it.
But there's no requirement, is what I'm saying. It's,
That I don't know,
mean, could
because
you
I
use your-
don't know about any ordinances that was
Yeah,
placed
and-
when Chief Mesh.
Yeah.
Chief Mesh is the one that's got us into the medical side. And listen, I'm not saying that my guys don't want to go help. It's just sometimes we feel like we're being abused,
Yeah, and
you know?
I'm sorry, Step. You have a-
What do you need from a catering ambulance? I personally know Justin, my brother from down under. I'm meeting with Guillory next week because of my festival. What do you need? I don't mess with Med Express. I mean, we had to
so-
run them out of Evangeline Parish. So
So yesterday,
tell me what you need from a catering ambulance.
So
and I'll get it
yesterday,
done for you.
we met with Toby at the services, okay?
Okay.
Because our e-board was there. So we met
His
with
last
Toby.
name Guidry?
Bergeron.
Okay.
And Toby said he was gonna send an email. Toby's gonna be here tonight at the meeting.
Okay.
He's gonna be here tonight so that he can hear from all the fire chiefs. Now, we reached out to Med Express. Jared Moe's for bicep surgery, and he's going through physical therapy. But me and him has been in contact. We're gonna work on Med Express next month.
Okay.
But I'm just letting y'all know, I'm trying to do whatever we can to keep that number under 730. I'm bringing it to y'all attention.
What do you need from a catering? Just tell me
cut
what
back
you
on the
need.
calls.
Only call us to life-threatening
Life-threatening.
emergencies. Only
So basically-
life-threatening.
Okay, let me get this straight, because I will bring this up. Okay, so you're saying that our fire department wants to only handle life-threatening emergencies? Okay.
Cardiac, breathing, seizures, you
I'm
know?
gonna have Dustin give you a call.
Thank you,
Matter of fact, well, I have him on the phone, I'll call you.
thank you.
Okay.
Uh,
We'll get that done.
To let y'all know, South Crowley's completely been done. We underway with renovations in North Crowley. Hopefully by the end of next month, we'll be finished.
Discussion.
So we can all discuss.
Hopefully next month we'll be finished.
It's a done deal.
Another thing, I'm gonna bring it up again, I brought it up last 2 months. We need to see about ordering a fire truck. It's 36 to 40 months out right now. Just today, engine 20 cost $9,000 to get repaired. So, that money I asked for last month is almost out again. But me and the mayor talked. I'm going to take care of the situation as long as I can take care of it. I don't feel that I need to come to y'all and ask for money because then y'all don't think I'm doing my job. You know, I'm gonna try to stay within the budget, try to pull money from here and there and go on. Any questions for me? But we do need to seriously think about
Like to make
it.
an observation. Chief, I think, the same thing we told, Troy, and Dick, if I'm wrong, you tell me, use what you got and then come back to us. You know, I mean, I think that's the protocol that we under, am I right? No, unless something changed, Dick? Okay, yeah, just use what you got. But I will definitely, get, Justin, yeah, I mean, I can't believe this. That's something new. That is totally new.
Thank
Well,
you, Chief.
I brought it to your attention in January, so
Okay.
I'm bringing it to your attention again because I told y'all then that by the last quarter of the year, we're gonna surpass the 730. And right now, we on projection for 760 to 770. So, I can't say how important it is to try to find the money, go take a loan, do whatever we got, because it's 36 to 40 months if we order today. You know, that's 3.5 years, guys. I don't know if that truck can last that long. And we'll be back in the situation we was 6 months ago. So I'll bring it to your attention every month. Any questions?
I think that's it. Thank you, Chief.
Now, Troy, since you talk so much, tell your cops not to stop me on the way out.
Okay, we'll move on to City Inspector Tony Duhon, who's not present. However, I do have his report. Under animal control, work orders, 20 calls for cats and dogs, 2 animal bites, 3 animal cruelty, and 12 for animal traps. 15 dogs were taken in, of which 5 have been claimed. 10 cats taken in, of which 5 were rehomed. 3 citations, 20 dogs are in the shelter, 6 cats are in the shelter, 8 animals spayed and neutered. Under code enforcement, 153 tall grass violations, 4 abandoned vehicle violations, 2 sanitation violations, 7 trash rubbish violations, 1 unauthorized business, and 16 uninhabitable structures. 30 tall grass complaints have been cut, with 21 scheduled to be cut. Under flood management, review 2 projects to be placed in flood zone, 525 Southeastern Avenue, which is a Dollar General store that's under construction, and Steinmus Retail Building on Rice Capital Parkway, and to complete the yearly reports for FEMA. Under permits, 2 new commercial construction, which include G&H Outdoor Store and the Dollar General, 2 demolition permits, 615 East Oak Street and 905 Huval Street, 1 addition, 27 electrical, 1 fence, and 8 gas permits. Under planning and zoning, 2 zoning verifications, stormwater management, month inspections were finished for the yearly reports to FEMA, and to contact Mr. Duhon if you have any information needed. Thank you.
Brad, if I may, where is the dollar store? Be another dollar store in the city of Crowley?
Yes, sir.
Where's it gonna be?
Southeastern Avenue, right just about a block from the Family Dollar.
Well, Kenneth Boudreaux got a moratorium against it. I think we need to do as well. Because it's taken away from our local businesses. I mean, this is unreal, man.
Yeah.
Talking about in South Carolina?
Across from the old Golden Delight Southside Kitchen. That big White House that was, I say big,
Yeah, I know,
the White House that was set back,
Right.
that house is gone. They removed some of the small houses and brought them around the
Talking about
backside
those
of
sharpshooter
LaGrange
houses
Street.
or what have you?
Yep, they brought them around the backside of LaGrange Street.
Lord Jesus Christ, we're gonna be known as Dollar Store City.
Ms. Teresa Richard, you'd like to make a comment? Yeah, go ahead.
Unreal, man.
Good evening. My name's Teresa Richard, and I live at 1005 East 7th Street. This will be my 3rd month, I believe, here, giving you guys a little blight update, what's going on with blight. Sad that Mr. Tony couldn't be here, nobody from code enforcement. Since the last meeting, it appears that all of the condemned structures from the blight court have been filed at the courthouse. Final notices have been sent, bids are in place, and the structures are now at the demolition phase. That's 7 properties. 2 of those are scheduled, actually 2 of those are scheduled between May 15th and May 23rd for the demolition. However, still no demolitions have taken place. Hopefully next month I'll be able to finally tell you that your first condemned structure has been removed after almost 3 years into this administration. Congratulations. Sadly, there are still hundreds more to go. I'd like to bring you an update about Miss Gretchen. Gretchen Young, you remember her from last month. She came here very concerned and at her wit's end. She reported serious ongoing violations at a neighboring property, including an unauthorized business, junk accumulation, oil spills, blockages in the public right-of-way. Gretchen has been reporting these ongoing problems for many years, and you'll remember she was at her wit's end. So how did the city respond for Gretchen's cries for help this month? Sadly, the city delayed any sort of action for nearly a month. A partial citation was finally issued on April the 28th, but it ignored key issues like the oil and the blocked public servitude. A court date has been set for June the 20th, but only for the business violations. You see that a notice of violation was sent to the property owner, and it was received on April the 29th, so that daily citations could have begun on May the 9th of this month, but that hasn't happened, just like all the other times that she's been here begging for help. The city has done little to address the issue, and the property remains completely unchanged. The junk remains, the oil contamination persists, the dangers to her and her family are still there, and the city won't even return her phone calls. This Easter, again, Gretchen couldn't use her yard or host an Easter egg hunt because of the conditions next door. And this isn't new. It's been going on for decades. And even though there are ordinance within the city and there are Louisiana revised statutes that could be enforced today, those have not been enforced. And what's missing isn't the legal authority, it's the will to actually act. No one's acted. I want to bring some attention to a group of properties that were formally condemned by the city in November of 2023 at a special council meeting. These structures were inspected and found to be dangerous and brought before this council months ago, and yet many of them still remain in limbo, still standing, still deteriorating, and still posing a threat to nearby residents. I didn't have a chance to go and inspect every single one of them today, but these properties include, here's 4 that I did inspect: 320 East Elm Street, 118 Keller Street, 552 Dr. F.L. Johnson Avenue. You'll recognize that as being very close to where Gretchen lives, and 530 East Lawson.
Richard, we have a time limit. I don't know how much more you have, but.
Just a little more.
Okay.
Just one more property. Okay. I know there's a lot that's going on that goes unreported to the council. I'll cut out the very end because I do have a few more minutes. This is East Elm Street. It was condemned, like I said, back in 2023. It has grass unmowed. There's no substantial improvements being made. And this property owner had 6 months to bring it up to code, but it still sits there, blighting this neighborhood. The same with 530 East Lawson Street. The one other property, 118 East Keller Street, which is a real-world example. This property was on the chopping block back in November of 2023, and when it came before the council, was deemed a danger and in need of demolition. Unfortunately, the service for that property at the time of the meeting had not been performed, and so the house sat in limbo. Somehow, the former property owner was notified of the intended condemnation. I said former property owner. The former owner then came into City Hall and was granted a permit after they gave an application showing a written list of things that they were going to do at a cost of $10,000. The permit was granted, but no visible repairs ever occurred. However, the property did manage to have the city turn the water on in this abandoned condemned structure. When the winter storm hit in January, the pipes inside the abandoned house burst. Water from the home flooded the house of the neighboring property, causing damage to the back wall and mold issues inside the home of a couple in their 80s. They did nothing wrong, yet they're paying the price for the city's failure to follow through on a condemned property. It turns out the property has been owned by a local rental company here in Crowley since 2005, not the lady that was coming in for the permits. And this is actually a rental property, which would require commercial permits and actual licensed tradesmen. There's quite a bit more of things that I really think that we need to accomplish, which would include a rental registration program, as well as turning on the public-facing portion of the current software being used by the city to track code enforcement. There is a public-facing portion that could be turned on by the city. It's there, it's available, and I've asked at the last 2 meetings that that be turned on, and I would again request that that be turned on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. I'm sorry.
Microphone, please.
I thought that this would be taken care of. We had everybody in complete hoorah that we would go to Miss Gretchen rescue. What happened? I'm asking. Because I spoke to Mark, the little guy, myself, under another issue, but knowing that this was supposed to be taken care of, I did not give him any heads up of what might be happening. But apparently, Ms. Richard, I appreciate the knowledge of that. I'm gonna go by Ms. Gretchen when I leave from here. Well, is she called in City Hall? Okay, well, I'm not in City Hall. But, I mean, it goes back to what we said earlier. Citizens are citizens. I don't give a damn you live in North, East, South, or West Crowley. It was stated earlier, but we're not getting the same damn respect and treatment. And I'll leave it at that, but I will take care of it.
Thank you, Step. Mayor, you had something?
Yeah, I have spoken with Ms. Gretchen. I actually went and visited with Ms. Gretchen at her house. I actually have pictures of the things that Ms. Richard is talking about. So that is false that Ms. Gretchen does not get communications with the city. Mr. Martin, please do go talk to Ms. Gretchen and make sure that she lets you know if I've communicated with her or not.
I said
because
she
have
can't get a phone
communicated.
call
Ms.
back.
Richard, you had your moment to speak.
She can't
I
get
am
a phone call
speaking
back.
now.
She's called and left
I
several
spoke
messages,
with Ms.
sir.
Gretchen.
Don't.
Mr. Kaur.
Order.
I spoke with Ms. Gretchen. I actually met her at her house. She called me, called her back. She has my cell phone number. Personally, she has my cell phone number. I've got text messages from her. We communicate. Her and I communicate. You know, if Ms. Richard wants a job, I'm hiring for code enforcement. Ms. Richard, would you like a job? Because I need someone to work in code enforcement. But I did speak with Ms. Gretchen, most certainly spoke with Ms. Gretchen. And that is an issue that, I'll tell you, that person, that neighbor has taken over the neighborhood. He purchased a piece of property behind him. He says it's his property. I didn't do any research on it. But I did instruct Tony to send letters out for the code violations on all of the properties that this gentleman has vehicles on. I actually spoke with the gentleman as he was sitting outside with other people when I showed up to Ms. Gretchen's house. Of course, he was very irate, explained how all of those vehicles are his vehicles, except the Angel Healing Hands van was parked there with the hood up, and I asked him if he owned that business, and he said, no, I'm just fixing that. Well, so you are fixing another vehicle. He was seen on video. I don't know if the police chief still has it, but he was seen on video dumping tires on West 9th Street. And when I confronted him about that, he says, that wasn't my truck. And if I'm not mistaken, I have it recorded when I went over there. If I'm not, I'm gonna listen, but if I'm not mistaken, he said that we can't prove it's his truck because the license plate was removed. And so he knows that we can't prove it's his truck. However, it was his truck. It was the people that normally help him, and he dumped tires there. Now, the property owner went back and picked them up themselves. I don't know where they brought them. But no, this is a real problem. It's a serious problem. We cannot go over there and physically remove these vehicles from his property, especially, I mean, the code enforcement has to write these citations and bring them to the court. I don't know how else to stop him. I'm open to suggestions, and honestly, we can go right now and do whatever we legally can. If we can do something physically and remove the problem, we'll go now. It is absolutely absurd to think that because it's on F.L. Johnson and in Mr. Martin's district that I am not doing anything, as he said. That is absolutely absurd and not true. I spend a lot of time in Mr. Martin's district trying to help people and other situations. So we are certainly helping her. I'm trying my best. I've spoken to some of you about the issue at hand, and I've reached out to others looking for help for that also. So
Mayor,
I'll be
regarding
coming with some more information later on for that.
the vehicles that allegedly he's servicing that are parked on the city right-of-way and partially in the street, can we tow those?
If they're against the ordinance, the police department can go and tag them. He'll have 5 days to remove them. What 9 times out of 10 happens is they move them onto the private property, and then code enforcement has to go do it, which is not a problem. And then code enforcement has to give them time again to move them
Yeah, it
Or
depends where they park at. If they park within 20 feet of the sidewalk or that intersection there, because there's a stop sign right there.
And they are parking close to
Yes.
that
Then they
south
can
side
be issued a citation.
Because they're impeding the view of traffic.
Chief, can y'all go and tag anything there that's on public right-of-way? Can you get somebody to go?
Yes, and we are
Whenever.
looking into it. In fact, I talked to Mr. Caesar. He's from California. He had called me last week or week before about that property that he owns across the street, and he's saying nobody has permission to be on his property. So I turned it over to my patrol captain to get with him and go through what we have to do to charge anybody that goes onto his property, because they are parking the cars across the street on this man's property, and
Right.
he doesn't want them there.
And I spoke to the complainant about that specific deal, and she asked me, she says,
And I talked to her too.
what
and
does he
I
have to
let her know
do?
the laws govern parking in that area, to where I explained to her what the laws were and the footage and stuff.
Right.
And to call us anytime. I gave her my personal cell number to call me. I'll make sure we send somebody out there and charge them.
But she asked me, because she has contact with that property owner. He lives in California. Again, I communicate with this lady. She asked me what he could do about the cars on his property. I said, he just got to call a record service. He can have them haul them off today if he wants.
Correct.
He doesn't have to ask any permission. He doesn't have to give any time frame. He can call a record service and say, anybody parked on my property within these boundary lines, haul them off. She said, well, I'll certainly call him and let him know that. So I don't know if that phone call happened. I don't have his contact. She does. But it's somebody that lives in California, she told me. And she named him. I don't remember what his name is. But I told her he can have those vehicles towed. He doesn't need permission from anybody. It's his property. Now, did he do that? I don't know.
And I do understand their concerns. It is a problem right there.
It's
We
terrible.
all recognize that he's doing work there.
It is terrible.
And it is a little frustrating, and the thing is to get him in the court to where it can be addressed.
That's been the problem. He's been to court multiple times for code violations. I think the problem is proving that he's doing mechanic work there. I don't know, I'm not the judge, I haven't been the judge or jury, but he has been to this court multiple times because of code violations on that property, multiple times. Same violations.
Sure, Step.
All due respect here, don't you ever holler at me again. I'm just gonna say this right here. You know, I don't wanna get out of play because I'm looking for officers to come busting in here at any minute. Don't you ever holler at me again.
I didn't holler at you, Mr.
Yes,
Martin.
okay, well, I'm going to accept that. But I'm gonna say it to you one more time. Don't you ever, and I mean ever, holler at me. You understand me?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Martin. I think you
Well, I
made
just
your
want to
point.
make it clear to him.
Yes, sir, I think you made it
Before
very
smoke
loud and
get
clear.
thrown, okay,
Yes,
I'm letting
sir.
you know. Don't you ever raise your damn voice at me,
Okay,
Okay,
okay?
I think
Well,
we
you're
all,
laughing
All right,
about
we-
it,
we
but
gotta-
I'm just letting you know.
because that's what you're doing to me.
No, I'm not.
I think we all want to treat each other with
no, I'm not.
respect.
order, we're
That
gonna
was
move on
directed
to
to me.
the action item.
You directed Mr. Martin.
Mr. Martin, we're gonna move on to the action item. All right, we have action item to purchase 2 units for the police department at a cost of $90,000. And I so move to approve this purchase and defer it to Revenue and Finance. Do I have a second? Seconded by Alderman Jeff Dorey. Discussion.
Mr. Core, you each have a copy of the resolution that's going to need to be approved for that purchase.
Yes, and I would like to accompany this resolution with the motion that has the details of these units with their VIN numbers and their actual cost with the upfitting of them. Does anyone have any questions on the committee?
My only question is are they're used?
These
what
are-
I saw, but are they used police Yukons?
Yes.
Yeah, these are used
That's correct.
Yukons.
So we still have to
Or-
outfit 'em with
or
something else?
Tahoes.
They use Tahoes.
Yeah, but they should have all the stuff already on it, huh?
It comes with most of it, but it will need to be upfitted some, yes. When they get them, they go through them, they take all the stuff out. Most of those radios and different things are different kinds that agencies use, so. Sometimes not. If it was used administratively, no. So it'd have to be upfitted. They are police packages though.
Yeah.
And, the Tahoes are really good, and you know, a normal Tahoe is like 80 grand upfitted, so.
Each,
Yeah, so.
And these have low mileage, Sam. I think they have
Yeah,
20 or 30,000 miles.
It depends. We had looked at 2. We had 2 that we were kind of interested in with 20-something thousand miles in, but they sell so fast. As soon as they get them, they gone. And this we got today, and she said I may not have them tomorrow. You know, they just move fast. They offer them at low prices to be able to move them like that.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have no discussion items, and the Public Safety Committee will recess.
Thank you, sir. Recreation, Alderman Ashby, please.
We'll call Recreation Committee to order. We have a quorum present. We will call up Recreation Director Zach Duyong. Hopefully you're still awake.
Good evening, council. So Parks and Recreation, we start with our parks. I know I spoke to Mrs. Zora and she was wanting to stay for the report. The benches for the MLK park have been shipped. They should be arriving 4 to 5 weeks. I know Wes had spoke about the sidewalks being poured at the MLK park. And just last week we had the playground structure was cleaned, deep cleaned, pressure washed, sanitized, and spot washed. And so we'll be moving throughout the city, going to different parks, cleaning them, excuse me, as a lot of the city equipment, playground equipment is older, trying to at least restore it and then replace and maintain as needed. The Levy Park tennis court, both the north and the south fence have been repaired. At the bottom of the fence, it was kind of warping, and so we laid some of the pipes down and tied the fence back down and then put the windscreens up as well. There were some swings at C.W. Edwards that we repaired and replaced. And then as far as mulch goes, we've been exploring our options with mulch. The tree service that had priorly done the work and put mulch at the parks, that was March of 2024, they no longer treat their mulch, so it's still a natural mulch. But I have a meeting with a rep on Thursday about a rubber mulch option. It is more expensive, but what I'm doing right now is just exploring our options, and that way we at least have a variety of options for what we can do. And then I know Chad has spoken about the bleachers for the Martin Luther King Community Center. Those have been ordered, and they will be shipping the first week of November. Initially, and I know that's 6 months away, it is a ways away. Initially, it was supposed to be January, February. I spoke with the service rep, and we spoke and stayed on them. They moved it up to November. So I know it is 6 months, but it's not 9 months. It still is a ways away, but it is also very exciting to be able to replace those bleachers at the community center. Onto recreation. Our recreation baseball and softball, our last games will be next Tuesday, May 20th, with the exception of the Pony League. They have one game the following week on the 26th, and then we'll have our all-star warm-up tournaments. Those tournaments in Crowley will be Thursday, June 5th to Sunday, June 8th, as well as Thursday, June 12th to Sunday, June 15th. So right now we're having our weekend tournaments. They're Saturdays and Sundays. Both of these all-star tournaments will be Thursdays through Sundays. Registration for football and soccer will be opening in the next month. At our next meeting in June, I'll have an exact date for that. Excuse me. We'll be able to post that on Facebook and put it in the newspaper and be able to spread that news as well. Want to make a point to say congratulations to JMU Baseball for winning their conference championship. I know they had their parade and celebration, but I wanted to make sure to say that publicly as well. Also to our 6 city softball and baseball teams, Crowley High, Notre Dame, and Northside Christian, baseball and softball programs all made the playoffs this year. All had very successful seasons. And I wanted to give you all a recap of schools that have played at Miller Stadium this year. And that's not, schools that Notre Dame or Northside Christian or Crowley have hosted, but schools that have called us and scheduled their home games. Just for example, Berwick, Covenant Christian Family Community, Gadall, Harrisburg, Iota, Lake Charles College Prep, Lakeside, Lake Shore, LCA, LRCA, Turlings, North Vermilion, and STM. And I know y'all are all familiar with us being able to host LSUE earlier in the year too, but it's a great asset to have that we're able to host all these high schools and bring them into our city, and they can utilize these fields. So then American Legion Baseball is holding tryouts this week, and the schedule is going to be released soon. I know Mr. Chris Quibido is going to have that on Facebook as well. And then speaking of bringing people into the city, the last piece that I have to mention is our last 4 tournaments, our last 4 weekend tournaments. We've had a total of 213 teams. This has brought in a little over 10,000 people into the city of Crowley. So I just, looking at the numbers like this, it makes me feel an immense amount of gratitude for, and Peter and the council and everybody who did their part in bringing these parks to the city, because it's kind of mind-blowing to think that we have almost the city of Crowley population coming into the city over the weekends and, spending money in our town and utilizing the fields. So, but yeah, that's everything, unless anybody has any questions. Sure. Skates was delivered.
That is my fault. I told Chief a couple of days ago, I said, we need to get those new skates over there. I didn't want to just drop them off. We want to take the old ones away and put the new ones up. So that is my fault. They haven't been delivered to the Martin Luther King Center yet.
Okay, any other questions for Zach? Zach and I started a little routine that we're gonna keep going, but once a week, him and I are riding together and we're going to every single park in Crowley. and making notes of what needs to be done. So if you get questions from your constituents about a park in their area, please reach out, let us know. So it's things that we can be working on. Like he said earlier, a lot of these parks have not been, or playground equipment that's out at those parks have not been really taken care of for years. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. So we would love to be able to take one park at a time and fix the park, bring it up to standards, so those neighborhoods and communities can enjoy their parks. So if y'all have any questions from your constituents, please pass that on to us. And thank you, Zach, we appreciate it. You can speak up. I think that was one of the parks that you had said y'all had measured out or something.
Yeah, and looked into the, laying down the plastic caps, and that would have been in excess of $50,000 to lay out just those 2 basketball courts. You speaking about the basketball goals themselves or the structure, the foundation?
So now we're talking about what it costs. We spent millions of dollars in South Crowley, millions of dollars putting artificial turf, and now you're digging about 50,000. I tell you what, I get with my partners and we just do the man code ourselves.
Well, and that'd be a great thing to bring up to talk about, but when you're talking about, you're asking the question and I'm answering you. In my budget, my park project budget is $35,000.
This council has the power to give you another 50,000.
Well, then we can visit about that. If that gets brought up and then we put it on the agenda for the next meeting, it's the same thing with the,
It's next Tuesday. So, somebody on the recreation department.
What's the turf that was put down? That might have been, what's that? Oh, the ball fields, okay. That's what you were talking about? You said the turf was put down in South Crowley.
you mentioned millions of dollars being spent.
Instead of trying to get all this expensive, all the kids wants to do is play ball. Just put a 4-inch slab and let these kids play ball. Concrete slab be fine.
Chuck, I will go tomorrow. I'll make sure those skates, Zach, I'll make sure those skates are delivered to Martin Luther King Center tomorrow. We'll put the pallet at the front door and we'll work on getting them in there so that I don't have another excuse for Mr. Martin. Mr. Martin, if you want to come help us tomorrow, we'll be able to do it. Yes, sir. Mr. Byron has not said anything to me. I'm referring to you because you asked about the skates, and that's why I'm saying, Mr. Martin, we will have the skates there tomorrow. Mr. Byron, we will also have the skates there tomorrow. Dickie, Sammy, Brad, Sandy, Jeff, Chuck, anybody else that wants to listen, we will have the skates there tomorrow, and we will trade them out and take the old ones out and put the new ones in. If anybody wants to come help, y'all are all welcome to come help to make that happen. What time you free?
I'm not free, but I'll make time. I got 4 businesses I'm running, so I don't have free, but I will make time for that. If I make time for the kids every Monday, and Chief, I do applaud you being here, and Byron, I thank you.
Okay. All right, anybody else has anything for Zach? Thank you, Zach, appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Nothing for Tim Mater, no other action items, so Recreation Committee will rest.
Zoning annexation, Alderman Reggie.
Thank you. I do have a quorum with everyone here. Mr. Mater is not here, and he said he had no action items, which I have no action items and no discussion items. Anything to come before zoning? Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Use your mic if you don't mind.
one thing I like to do is, some people call it reward, I call it put recognition in place. The area right now, which is one of the Crowley's fastest growing areas is the area around Carstens. I remember when everybody was against that being here, and fought a good fight, and we won it. What I'm asking this council to do for the recognition is that Miss Judy Carmichael played a major role in helping a lot of things that we do in our district. And I'd like to see her recognized just like recognizing Mr. Nelson J. Arsenault. I'm not asking to change the name of the VFW Drive. I'm just asking to put some type of memorial parkway or memorial whatever for her in recognition of what she done and her husband as far as all the good things that they have done in the city of Crowley. I know that's not my district. I asked Jeff about it, and I do have your blessings with that, Jeff.
It is, I think it's a state highway, so we'd have to look into that and see.
No, it's not a
what's
state
possible.
highway.
Yes, it is.
Well, if it is, well, we can, well, I know everybody in the state, that's not a problem. But we're looking at doing it just like, well, with Mr. Arsenault, not changing VFW, just recognition for, and I would ask that we get it on the agenda as soon as possible. And also, I will be having the naming of the streets, whether the signs are ready or not. 4th of July, the 4th of July at the MLK Center. We're gonna have the naming, and we're gonna have First Step Fest, and it's not Step Martin Fest. It's something to entertain the people with, and I will be covering all costs for the festival. That's gonna be July 4th, which, if y'all remember, was Orlando Thomas Day, and we're bringing it back.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anything else for zoning? I will recess.
Thank you, sir. Public Buildings, Alderman Wildridge, please.
Good afternoon. Before we open public buildings, I'd like to thank y'all from the bottom of my heart for your prayers and your thoughts, your phone calls, your texts. My pastor say all the time, people don't have to be nice. Amen. But when it's nice, a thank you is always in order. So I just want to thank y'all, and y'all, we got to give people their flowers while they live, because they can't smell them when they dead. So y'all show me how much, I mean, some of y'all probably don't like me as much, but it still shows me love, though. So, and I just want to thank y'all from the bottom of my heart, though.
I like you a little bit, man.
Well, thank you, Byron. I'm glad you're doing better and you're looking good.
Public,
You can go for a while, though, buddy.
Public Buildings convened on May the 12th at 5 p.m. at the council chambers. We had a quorum. On the action item, there was none. On the discussion items, there were none. So at that time, Public Buildings recess.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, Insurance Personnel, Alderwoman Marks, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We do have a quorum, and we convene the Insurance and Personnel Committee. There are no reports, action items, or discussion items unless anybody has a discussion item. I know we have we amended it for Steve Primo to come on. Does that come under here? We're good with that? Okay, no discussion. If there's, we'll recess at this time.
Thank, Community Economic Development, Katie Chesson, Alderman Reggie.
Yeah, she had emailed me her report. Let's see, Crowley Main Street. Main Street staff attended the National Main Street Conference in Philadelphia, the State Historic Preservation Conference in Shreveport, and the Main Street at the Capitol. The Stay Golden Sip and Stroll was successful. They are currently working on a sock hop Christmas in July and Kids Day. Staff is also working on getting quotes from landscapers in order to apply for grants to update flower beds in the Main Street District. Under Acadia Parish Chamber of Commerce, on June 5th is a quarterly breakfast at the Acadia Parish landfill. And then today at Garden Club, we met over at Harmon's Nursery. We had a program on fertilizers, which was actually really interesting. And then we had our official meeting at Sharon's Grill, where we installed our new officers for the 25-26 season coming up. And then we did have an informal meeting this last week for Historic District Committee, and we're reviewing its functions and the city ordinances regarding it. And then under West Crowley Beautification Committee, this group declared the month of April to be beautiful, as in B-E-E, beautiful. Our neighborhood month emphasis was on litter cleanup around the homes, neighbors' homes, down the street, and in ditches along West Hutchison and Western Avenues. West Crowley Beautification Board members are encouraged to put trash bags in their automobiles to pick up litter as they travel on the streets daily, clean up our town, trying to make clean up our town an everyday mindset and affair. And the National Association of University Women will showcase 12 beautiful children and their talents at the 41st Little Masters and Little Miss NAUW pageant to be held on May 24th at the Gladys Poulard Multipurpose Center located at the corner of West 5th and North Avenue C. The public is invited to attend and refreshments will be served. And then I have a thing for the Crowley Alumni Delta Sigma Theta, but I think somebody wanted to speak for that. They may give a better commercial than I will. And your name, please.
Dr. Michelle Callaway. Good evening, Mayor and Alderman, and Police Chief, and also to our Post-Signal editor, each of you. And I'm assuming the interim city attorney?
New.
New. Oh, congratulations,
Official.
Mr. Mike. Congratulations to you. I'm going to make this very short. I was thinking, Mr. Mayor, about the last time I spoke here, and I thought about the church that I attended in Dallas had an older pastor who was considered old school. And any preacher or Sunday school teacher who had been out for some time, when they came back to church, he instituted something that was called giving an account of your absence. And so I just wanted you all to know that I want to give an account of my absence. I teach a class in Lafayette on Tuesdays during the regular school term, and that's why I haven't been here. So I don't just show up to speak. I'm giving an account of my absence. I do have a reason for not being here during the other months, and I appreciate you all hearing us on this evening. I'm going to make this very short and sweet. I'm not going to read everything that my president, and I come on her behalf, Mrs. Sharon B. Rawls, who is very extraordinary, but I won't read all of this. I won't belabor the time. We just want to warmly invite you to our 50th. Crowley Alumni Chapter is celebrating 50 years of being chartered in this city. We were chartered on June 1st, 1975 by 12 dynamic and visionary women. And as you know, I'm sure you concur with us that we have served as a beacon of service, sisterhood, and social action, and we have been blessed to do this for 5 decades. So on Saturday, May 17th, which is this Saturday at 10 a.m., we will host a memorial bench dedication in honor of these 12 charter members. The event is going to take place at the Crowley Alumni Chapter's Legacy Garden, which is located on the lawn of the Delta Community Corporation at 709 West 5th Street here in Crowley. And we wanted to extend an invitation to each of you and to the community to come out and join us for that monumental event. We are also going to be welcoming one of our former national press presidents, Mrs. Cynthia M.A. Butler McIntyre. She was the 24th past national president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She's going to be our keynote speaker for our 50th anniversary dinner and program, which is going to be on Saturday, June 7th at the Grand Opera House. One of my sorority sisters, Mrs. Vicki Milson, did personal invitations to each of you. So please do take one. She wanted to, and that includes our chief and as well as you, Mr. Steve. And there's one that will be for you as well. So if you would take this, please. Thank you so much. And we just want to invite you all to come and share with us in this monumental occasion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Callaway.
My understanding is that was the first library for Black people. And that little tiny building was a library for the African American community. So we are in the process, Alderman Martin, of trying to get on the National Registry for that building as a historic landmark. So fingers crossed that that will happen as well. Okay. Oh, okay. That was before my time. It really was. It really was. But thank y'all, and I appreciate you, Mayor Monso. Just want to say hello to you and to all of you as well. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Thank you for your time.
Much love. Thank y'all.
Okay, under action items, I have none, and under discussion items, I have none. Anything else to come before community and economic development? I will recess.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, Revenue and Finance, Alderman Lachele.
Thank you, Mayor. The Revenue Finance Committee convenes. We have a quorum present. The first matter of business, I need to have an agenda amendment to add an action item. That action item is to provide funding from the general fund for the police department to purchase 2 units in the sum of $90,000. Okay, so I'll have to go ahead and get a vote on that. All right. Okay, as chairman, I vote yes. Chuck Ashby? Yes. Brad Core?
Yes.
Vernon Martin? Yes. Katie Shaston? Okay. The agenda has been amended. Okay. Then we'll start with the regular committee business. Under reports, we have none. Under action items, number 1, to adopt a resolution authorizing a standby letter of credit issued by the First National Bank on behalf of the city of Crowley for the benefit of the Louisiana Office of Workmen's Compensation in an amount not to exceed $300,000, and to authorize the pledge of an unencumbered certificate of deposit as security for the standby letter of credit, and to provide all matters relative thereto in connection therewith. Offered. Got a motion offered?
Second.
Second, okay. Any discussion? All in favor, signify aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Action item approved. Okay. Action item number 2, to provide funding from the general fund for the police department to purchase 2 units in the sum of $90,000. I so move.
Second.
Okay, that's second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay. Under discussion items, we have none with no other business to come before the committee. The committee recess.
Thank you, sir. Chief, can you maybe contact them and see, and let them know that, officially we have to wait until next Tuesday for the council to approve it, officially approve it. Maybe they'll hold it for us. I can maybe unofficially sign the buyer's orders and, yeah. Right. I'm confident that the council will vote for it next week, but we can't officially do anything until they do that, so maybe they'll hold those 2 for us. Okay, that's it. I just want to remind everyone, I will not be here next week. I will be at a conference for my position on the Firefighters Retirement Board through LMA as a trustee, so some continuing ed stuff. So I will not be here next week. Sandy Marks will run the meeting. I tried to keep the agenda light so that y'all can move through it pretty quick. So, of course, I'll have phones and computers and emails, and so call, and I'll be happy to help however I can. Thank you all.